Unreleased podcast, the best of the underground. Make madness your ritual.
What's happening with you folks? It's Friday evening, 7:31 in the Twin Cities Central Standard Time. It is Friday, April 9th, 2021. Hanging out here in the studio, about to start this motherfucking stream. Hope you guys are having a good evening. Thank you for joining us. If you're here with me right now, I really do appreciate it. I am broadcasting right now, as far as I know, on Periscope and on YouTube. Tomorrow, I'm actually off my 30-day suspension from stupid Facebook. Facebook got hip to me all of a sudden. They punished me by knowing what I do now. So the live stream, things like that, they figured it out. So they banned me for 30 days to stream my own podcast, which is just bullshit. And they pushed me basically over to YouTube. If you watch the stream at all, you know that I was only planning on doing, up to 10 shows on Facebook Live anyway, because I know that they're so strict on their shit nowadays. You want to know how I got my 30-day ban? From something that I posted in 2017. Fucking ridiculous, if you ask me. They just go back and they find stupid shit. Hey, in 2017, I was a lot more crass than I am now, which is really hard to believe because I'm kind of an asshole, but that's what they did. They basically went back and they found a picture and then they punished me for it. So here I am. Here we are. Do me a favor. If you're looking to get some screen printing done, stop on over to Anti-Broadcasting Incorporated Custom Screen Printing. That's antibroadcasting@gmail.com. Give them a call, 612-836-9488. I can't say enough good things about these guys. They've done so many band shirts for all the local bands, so many national bands as well. They got a fast turnaround. Fantastic materials that they use. All their plastisols are fantastic. These dudes are really, they work really well with their customers. I hook these guys up with my day job. I work in construction, and these guys hooked my company up. So again, Anti-Broadcasting Incorporated, Custom Screen Printing, antibroadcasting@gmail.com, or give them a call, 612-836-9488. If you're looking to get some tattoo work done, check out my friend's tattoo shop, Lowbrow Saints Tattoo Collective, over in South Minneapolis. Fantastic shop, great artists over there. They've got a lot of old school stuff. If you're into old school, if you're into new school, if you're into just doing some kick-ass art on your body, hit Lowbrow Saints Tattoo Collective up. That's lowbrowsaints@gmail.com, or give them a call at 612-353-4755. Again, that's lowbrowsaints@gmail.com, or 612-353-4755. Give them a call. Tell them Ritual Madness Podcast sent you. They'll probably charge you a little bit extra for that one. We're actually a sponsor coming here in June. We've got. Here's the thing, man. Last year I bought a motorcycle right at the end of kind of in the middle of the season last year. My buddy Louis Bailey's got a Lucky 7 motorcycle. It's a shop down in Dallas Fort Worth. We went to high school together. The guy sees me get a brand new bike. He's been doing this Louis Bailey Senior Memorial Poker Run for the last 9 years. This is the 10th annual poker run that they're doing this year. Last year, the guy see me get a motorcycle. He's like, "Here's our fucking run. You better fucking be there." I end up going there, and I'm like, "Man, this could be such a bigger run. The things that they do for this run." So Louis Bailey's father, Louis Bailey Sr., passed away from cancer. So they've been doing this memorial poker run for 9 years now, coming on 10 years. And I'm like, man, they pick out a family that's going through the trials and tribulations of cancer, and they donate all the proceeds, which is $20 per rider. And they donate all the proceeds to that family and to go towards their bills and towards their doctor bills and everything that they need. This year, my friend Todd Young's son, who's 18, Tanner Young, contracted cancer last September. The kid just turned 18, and He's been going through chemo. It's been horrible, and seeing my buddy go through this and his family go through this has been a motherfucker. So we contacted Louis and asked him if we could use Todd's family as the beneficiary of this year's poker run. We're trying to get behind this poker run. It starts at Park Place Sports Bar in St. Paul Park, Minnesota, 200 Broadway Avenue in St. Paul Park. It goes to, let me see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stops total. You start at Park Place in St. Paul Park. You you pay your fee to get in. We're going to be doing some raffles at each stop. We've got the No Name Bar / the Monkey Bar in Prescott. We've got the Gaslight in Ellsworth, Wisconsin. We've got the Naughty Hog and the Harbor Bar. Those are the stops, and then we go back to Park Place for a dinner, for a barbecue dinner. I think they might have spaghetti as well, but the barbecue dinner is by Team Bubba Barbecue as well, and myself with Ritual Madness podcast and Team Bubba Barbecue and Lucky 7 Motorcycles and Lowbrow Saints and Park Place Sports Bar. We're all sponsors of this thing. These proceeds do go to my friend's family who are going through a really tough time right now. I can seriously vouch for that. It's been hell. But if you want to come and hang out with us on June 19th, it'd be fantastic. The doors open at 10 o'clock. They've got the breakfast is served there at Park Place in St. Paul Park. It is $20 per rider. Or, I mean, if you want to come and follow the whole crew of people going from stop to stop, if you've got any kind of car, you want to come join this thing just to have fun, enjoy this. We've got a lot of shit to raffle off. We got like Lowbrow Saints is doing like $500 worth of gift cards. We've got $200 gift cards from St. Paul or Blaine Harley Davidson over here. We've got a ton of Harley Davidson gear, jackets, backpacks, all kinds of stuff. I'm working on some power tools from my construction job right now through some vendors. So please, if you can, Saturday, June 19th, 2021, 10th annual Louis Bailey Senior Poker Run. Come check it out. It starts at 10 a.m. We're going to be kicking off at 12. We're going to be leaving to the next stop, which will be the Monkey Bar in Prescott. If you're looking at the flyer, you can print it, screenshot it, whatever. Get a hold of us. There's going to be, let's see here, best 5-card hand wins $100 so you get the card every stop. You'll pull a card. You'll add that to your poker hand. 5 stops, 5 cards. You get your poker hand. Best 5-card hand wins $100. Best bike, we've got a trophy for the best bike this year. And like I said, we're going to be doing a bunch of raffles, probably some silent auction stuff. Anyway, let's get to the podcast. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you will show up and hang out with us anyways. So here I am. Here's my friend here, Mr. Brad Grimm. How are you doing, buddy?
Oh, doing great. How are you doing, Greg?
I'm not too bad. Not too bad, man. It's a Friday. I'm happy I'm not at work right now.
Oh, you and me both, man. I've been having to work a few Fridays lately, and I'm happy to have one off.
Yeah, for sure, man. You said you got to actually sleep in a little bit today, huh?
Yeah, like a fucking hibernation, more like I swear.
Well, that's what happens when you're a big bear like me too, man. You fucking you go into hibernation.
Well, now I'm starting to get more of the like twink body though. That's the problem.
Well, that's good, man. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I want to say what's up to Chris Goldberg, man. Thanks for joining us, buddy, in the chat. I appreciate it. Anybody who's in the chat, if you want to ask Brad some questions, I will definitely get to that question and shoot it at Brad, and we can answer your questions as they come in. I appreciate y'all joining us. Like I said, I appreciate it because I know Phil and Selmo and the Illegals are playing Vulgar Display of Power streaming right now or tonight, anyways. Yeah.
Oh,
so
fuck, we're up against Pantera.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're hanging. You know what I mean? I promoted the Pantera stuff, and my buddy was
watch us.
Right. Well, you know how I do these things, man. I'm sure you've either listened or seen the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I usually like to start out by finding out what you were listening to as a kid. What were your mom and dad listening to? What were your brothers and sisters, if you have any, listening to? Like, what was going on? Because honestly, when we're kids, you know what I mean? We somehow, as musicians, we attach ourselves to those sounds that we hear as kids.
Oh, absolutely.
So what were your folks listening to when you were a kid?
So this is going to be the part that's kind of funny, considering that I'm into like brutal death metal and shit. is that when I was growing up, my mom would always listen to Cool 108 back in like the early 90s, back when they only played like 60s and 70s music.
Yeah.
And so I grew up listening to stuff like my favorite pop band from the 60s is Mamas and the Papas.
Oh,
like
gotcha.
Absolute Mamas and the Papas. Mama Cass is my idol. Love it.
Dude, she had a great voice.
I just picked up 2 vinyls. I was up in Duluth and I went to one of the antique stores there. And I ended up picking up, If You Can Believe Your Eyes and Ears, and they're self-titled. And so I was geeking out about that. Like I went up there with a boyfriend and I'm like, I need to buy this. I need to buy this right fucking now.
Yeah.
This is something I need in my collection.
Yeah.
And so now then I also, my dad always listened to polka. He was into polka and opera music. Like we have Wagner vinyls at the house. We have like the Magic Flute in like 12 CD form. And I'd say like the first actual heavy music I ever heard, if you want to call this heavy, if it's heavy for the 70s, but the first album that I ever heard that struck me as heavy metal was Bad Outta Hell by Meatloaf.
Oh,
and,
nice.
It was honestly like my favorite album growing up, is listening to Bad Outta Hell.
Yeah.
Like to me, there's not a bad song in that album. It has the perfect flow. It lasts exactly as long as it needs to. If I want to geek out for a second, I would say he could have put Heaven Can Wait at the end of the album. It would have been a much better ending to it, but whatever.
Right.
I'm not Meatloaf. I'm not John Steinman.
Right.
But I guess the first metal that I ever heard was when I was in grade school, back in gym class. They would have us do these endurance runs and stuff. So you basically spend like the whole entire time running.
Yeah.
And they would have like these different mix CDs and stuff. Well, one of the gym teachers was a bit of a metalhead. And so at that point, we were listening to Power Man 5000, Rob Zombie, Metallica. I don't think they let him play Slipknot, because at the time, this is like late 90s. So Slipknot was like saying fuck in like every single song.
Right, right.
So it was just like, yeah, but that first real metal song I remember hearing was Enter Sandman.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there going like, this is really good. I really like this. And like grade school me, and late 90s, you can't exactly just go on YouTube and be like, type in Metallica, oh, here's some music by them. Like, no, you had to like go and buy an album.
Right.
And so I ended up, I think this was maybe like the early days of the internet. I ended up downloading some tracks and putting them on a mixtape, and it was like Brad's Metal Mix or something like that. I don't remember what I called it, but yeah, it had like Dragula, When Worlds Collide, Enter Sandman 1, and like all those ones. And probably around like middle school or so, when I think Rhapsody started being a new app on the internet. It was that's when I started listening to other stuff, and that was also when I got really heavy into Gorillaz. Like I'm a huge Gorillaz fan.
Great
that
group.
was right when Demon Days came out, and so they had like so much airtime on the radio. They
Right.
were all over MTV.
Yeah.
And my music taste is really weird. It's everything from like brutal death. You'll notice I never even brought up a fucking death metal band yet. I didn't even get into that until I was like 16, and I think it was because of Rock Band, actually. God, this interview's making me sound like a fucking millennial, but yeah, I had Rock Band, and they had like the DLC songs, like extra songs you could download, and one of them was Hammer Smashed Face, and I downloaded that, and it was like first time I ever heard death metal in my life, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking, oh my god, it was so eye opening, and I'm like, I love this. And like within a month, I was like, I had all of these death metal albums and stuff on my computer. I was listening to the most brutal shit I could find. Which, that's another thing. I'm really happy. I was just dealing with I just ordered some CDs through Brutal Mind out of I think Jakarta,
Mm-hmm.
and they just sent me a Prelate's Attrition by Orchidectomy from 2009, which is like one of the first death metal albums I really liked, and so I'm totally happy about that right now.
Nice.
And but yeah, I started getting into really brutal shit. I started listening to like mainly slam, because I was really into the slam at the time. I loved it. Like the more heavy it sounded, the better.
Yeah, I mean, back then it wasn't even considered slam. It was just death metal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It was just slow, brutal death metal. Because
Yeah.
like you had bands like Cephalotropsy, and I think Abominable Putridity was just starting around then.
Sure.
And so it's like everybody mainly thought of like, bands like Disgorge or Internal Bleeding, Suffocation, stuff like that. And
Yeah.
then nowadays, oh my God, like the amount of slam bands today is insane. That's why, like, as a band like Synopsis, we've kind of pushed a little bit past the slam thing. We're trying to do more of a brutal death metal sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's like it feels so tapped out. I don't know what to do. I'm not creative enough for this genre.
Well, I mean that's I mean as a musician, that's kind of how it goes. You hit those roadblocks here and there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Honestly, I've had some pretty bad writer's block lately. I've been focusing on like improvisation and stuff, but admittedly, I haven't written a new riff in a little while, and I gotta fix that.
Yeah, so let's kind of touch on that one too. So now, for like we were talking before we started here, like the first time that I'd ever seen you play was with Down Inferno, and you were singing for those guys, and that's the first time I'd ever heard you sing. And then I've seen you since then, but I didn't even know that you played guitar. So is that like your main instrument? Is that something that you started playing? Was playing guitar first, or?
Well, so I've been playing music, like music's been a part of my life my entire life.
Okay.
I started singing when I was probably about like 4 or 5 years old. My mom would take me to church and she would have me like sing along to the stuff. And that's actually how I learned how to kind of sight read music as well. And yeah, I started singing then. It got to the point where like, yeah, we'd be in the radio or we'd hear the radio in the car. And my mom was she was part of a choir, but she would always sing the harmonies.
Sure.
And so it's like I'm hearing these harmonies that don't exist in the songs. And so I started like getting really into singing around that time. And then it was around like 3rd grade, I picked up the keyboards. 4th grade, I picked up the drums. I was in a jazz band by 6th grade.
Wow.
And I didn't actually pick up the guitar until I was 17.
Damn.
So I've only been playing guitar about like 12 years.
So you played a shit ton of instruments. You've vocals, you've done keyboards, you've done all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, plus I've got other instruments I'm getting into. I've got a violin downstairs. I want to get my hands on a banjo. I want to like start getting into possibly brass instruments, but I just feel like I don't have the technique down for that, like at all.
Shit, you never know till you try, man. I mean, clearly you're musically inclined. You like to fiddle around. There's nothing wrong with having extra things that you can do.
Well, plus my goal in the future is to eventually become a composer, and I know one of the things they tell all composers is learn as many instruments as you can conceivably play. Collect instruments, have a ton of them.
Right.
And of course, not just like all of one kind. I have to have like a bunch of different kinds, which, oh Christ, I'm gonna have to buy like a new violin at some point, and that's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Like that's like, oh hey, there's $5,000 down the toilet for
They're
just
that
like
expensive, huh?
one.
They're that expensive, huh?
Violins are a lot more expensive than your average guitar. Like,
Wow.
Oh my God, I got a used one and it cost me like probably about like $500-$600.
Wow. Wow.
And so it's like, yeah, when you get in those like the classical instruments and stuff, the price just skyrockets. Don't even get me started on brass instruments.
Yeah. So I mean, when you started getting into heavier stuff, did you start wanting to play guitar? Was that kind of what pushed you towards that stuff, or what?
Well, what I actually did was when I was about I had actually gotten the second Guitar Hero when it first came out. Actually, I think I got the first one when it came out because I really liked rhythm music games at the time. And when I started to really like sit there and play it, I got really good at it. And it reached a point where I'm looking in the mirror going, I'm really good at a completely useless talent. So I should really just learn how to play real guitar. And so then I got myself a guitar at a garage sale. It was a cherry red Les Paul. I still have it actually.
Nice.
Now, granted, it ain't no Gibson. It's definitely an off-brand from like I think China, and so it only cost me like a few $100. But yeah, I started playing then, and then first riff I ever learned how to play was actually Enter Sandman. I'll tell you, those first 5 years were rough, though. You would not have wanted to hear me back then.
Well, I mean, we all got to start somewhere, man. I know how that goes. I've tried every fucking instrument, you know what I mean? But nothing has ever stuck because I'm just I'm all over the board. I think I've been wanting to play bass for a couple years now, and I just bought a couple. I got a really good deal on a couple of them, and I've been meaning to get some lessons and stuff, but it's like I can't find the right time and right person for it right now. So I wanted to give a shout out to Desk Traffic. Says Cass Elliott is the shit.
Oh, yeah. Mama Cass.
Yep, there you go. And then Adam D from Forever in Gray, always joining us on Fridays, man. Thank you very much for joining us again, Adam. Adam says, Mr. Brad, do you have a favorite composer?
Favorite composer? I want to say, fuck, let me try and think here. Well, I mean, you could say Bach, but that's just like, his stuff is so like really plain, and like it's like all church music. Honestly, I kind of like, I was actually really getting into Tchaikovsky for a little bit, but now I've started to listen to stuff like Rachmaninoff and like a lot of like 20th century composers, the ones that really do the weird stuff. Like, you think of classical music, you think of all very well designed, very like elegant music, whereas like stuff from the 20th century, like from the 60s through the 80s, stuff that composers were making, you could tell they did like just an absolute shitload of drugs and just decided to do a bunch of weird stuff. That's where, like, I'm sure you've seen the meme of like the piece of sheet music that says and now the herd of cattle goes by,
right?
And it's like, yeah, that's what like 20th century composers are doing. And it's like, oh, gunshots. And it's like, so you're gonna have a guy with a gun in the room just like firing off a gun while people are sitting there trying to play violin and just like all of a sudden hit the deck, like,
right?
Oh man, composers are weird. Like,
yeah. Well, one of the last podcasts that I had with David Greger from Mortiscald. That's what he talked about with his fascination with music was soundtracks. It was like he started picking up soundtracks as a kid and just was trying to figure out how to play those songs in the soundtracks, you know. And he has an autistic kid, and his kid does that now. Is really like into composers for video games and stuff. It's like stuff.
Oh yeah, honestly, Nobuo Uematsu is like one of my favorite video game soundtrack composers. He does the soundtrack to basically all the Final Fantasy.
That's
games.
What I was just gonna say. Yep, Final Fantasy.
Yeah, and like honestly, that game has some of the best soundtracks I have ever heard in any piece of media, really, because it's very tonal to the actual things that are happening. He knows really how to create a song that tells you exactly what's happening. You don't even need to see what's on the screen.
Yeah, really moody. It from what I used to work at Funko back in the day before they even changed it to GameStop. Before they sold to GameStop, and I worked with a guy who
they basically became a racket.
Right? Yeah, pretty much. But I worked with a guy who was taking Japanese in college, and he drew a lot of anime stuff, and he wanted to become a video game creator and stuff like that. But he went to Japan a bunch of times, and he would always listen to video game soundtracks. So it was like ambient noise going on in the background. It was just, you know, but you know, as a musician, you pick up on those tones, like you said, that moody kind of feeling that dude's able to achieve is fucking amazing.
Well, actually, even speaking of that, there's one composer. He's actually a video game designer and a composer who, like, to me is like one of the big new names in like video game music, and that's Toby Fox. He's the guy who made the game Undertale, if you've ever heard of Undertale. It came out about like 6 years ago.
Sure.
And he made the entire game by himself. He made the entire soundtrack by himself on FL Studio.
Damn.
And it became so immensely popular. His songs are so perfect to the game that it's in that they actually are selling the soundtrack now on Steam for the same price as the game.
Nice. Adam also put up, let me see here if I could fucking read this because I'm kind of blind. Mick Gordani?
Mick Gordon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Gordon. Okay. Oh, that's a fucking, yeah, that's exactly what he said. I'm like looking at it. It's fucking with my eyes.
BFG Division is like a really great, if you just want a pumping, just adrenaline pumping death metal song. That's not necessarily death metal. It's almost like metal dubstep in a weird way, but it works so well. It works so amazingly for a soundtrack. Like, yeah, Mick Gordon. And the fact that instead of using just his computer, like a lot of composers, he actually has this giant wall of synthesizers and modules and stuff. He does everything analog.
Wow.
Every single thing in the soundtrack is analog, despite it sounding like just crazy techno metal.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy, man. I remember the Doom, the old school Doom stuff. I really,
Oh
really
yeah,
did,
the
I really did
original
miss it.
soundtrack where it's like ripping off so many metal songs. Like
Yeah,
they did, what is it, Master of Puppets, Mouth for War, South of Heaven. Like there's so many of them on there, and I think they even covered like Suicidal Tendencies, I want to say, and Anthrax.
nice, nice. So,
Yeah, it was,
when it comes to playing locally and being in a band, so what was your first band? How did you get started getting into the bands? I mean, when you started playing guitar and shit like that, like how long did it take you before you started playing in a band?
about 4 years.
Okay.
It was about 4 years from when I started to when I joined my first band in 2012, Prophets of Aether. Which, yeah, I think we talked about that before the podcast
Yep.
started. So I was at my very first metal show. Well, my first big metal show, medium size, whatever you want to call it. It was at Station 4. So let's say medium size show. And it was Metal Alliance 2012. It was 3 Inches of Blood, The Faceless, Devil Driver, Job for a Cowboy, Dying Fetus, Impending Doom, and Apothecary. And I went to see Apothecary actually because it was my buddy's band that I had seen him. My buddy Vinny, who's actually the drummer from Elysium, great fucking guy.
Great
He
band,
was.
too.
I saw him filling in for a band called One Man Massacre in the Stacy Teen Center. It's like right next to the trailer park there, and that was a hell of a show. And he told me like, oh, I got this show coming up. And it's gonna be a big show. We got Dying Fetus and Double Driver and The Faceless, and I think this was when The Faceless was first starting to get into like the modern Faceless kind of sound.
Yeah.
And so I was really excited to see this. And I mean, I got to see Job for a Cowboy before they broke up. So that was automatically like, I was like, Job for a Cowboy's playing. I need to fucking go and see this.
Right.
And so I got there. Great show. It was a lot of fun. And then Vinny hit me up afterwards. And he'd asked me if I wanted to jam in a band that him and his buddy had been writing some stuff. And they wanted to see if I wanted to jam with them. And like, I ended up going down to his grandparents' place in Coon Rapids. I'm like, is this really where your studio is? And he goes into the back. It's like this old hot tub room that has like no ventilation, and everything had been cleared out. And this was like, it looked like a studio space. It looked almost exactly like a studio. And it's like, oh my God, the times we had in that band, I don't remember a lot of them, but I remember there were some crazy stories. And that was back when I was like at my most hard partying time. Like, yeah, we were just always drinking and having fun and all kinds of crazy shit. We used to party with like Chuck and the Pandemic guys a lot as well back in the day. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. I think that ended around, well, we started in October 2012. I think we broke up around March 2014. It was when that Behemoth show was going to be. It was right around then. And then after that, like, I really enjoyed my first band. It was a pain in the ass because I was just sitting there trying to write stuff that was just like, oh, hey, here's a song that has like 4 minutes with 0 breaks in it. And it's like, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I must have had something to try and prove. I don't know, like, oh, I'm on the scene for the first time. I got to make waves, you know, because that was our whole idea is we need to make waves. So we were doing a bunch of like Leo Presents shows and stuff all the time. I actually ended up, I think we opened for Dying Fetus twice. We opened for Chimera, Abiotic, Allegion. What was it? Rivers of Nile. We actually played with Rivers of Nile a few times back when I think their Monarch album came out. I think it's called Monarch. Now I got to check this, make sure I'm not making myself look like an idiot. Then again, I already do that all the time.
Don't we all, man? Don't we all? Don't feel bad, man. I'm there with you.
Yeah, I was. Oh man, yeah, it was a fun time. I really enjoyed my first band. Would I go back to it? Maybe. I actually really like what I'm doing now, though.
Yeah. So with that stuff, with that first band, it kind of really gave you the taste if you're opening up for those that caliber of bands. Then now,
yeah.
How were you guys sitting on say material? Did you guys ever record anything? Did you guys have T-shirts? Did you have all of that merch? Did you have your ducks in a row?
No, not at all. We didn't we never recorded anything. We did a run of 6 T-shirts. There's 6. Trying to do that with one hand. I'm an idiot. There is 6.
You should have just used your nose. What?
Yeah.
6.
That's 6 right there. But no, so there's 6 Prophets of Aether T-shirts floating around somewhere that have like a Levian pentagram on the front.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I think like Vinny's dad did some screen printing or something, and he just figured like, oh, put our logo here and then put like a pentagram, like, yeah, it'd be like logo there and then pentagram down there.
Yeah.
And so there's a few of those floating around, but other than that, we never ended up recording anything. We were actually gonna record through 1459, but at the time I didn't have a job, and there was a couple other people in the band who didn't have jobs, so we just didn't have the money for it at the time.
Right.
Of course, that's what it always comes down to.
Yeah, it really does, man. It really does. With
at the time, like admittedly, if I just wouldn't have been drinking so much, probably could have afforded it realistically. That was when Will was doing like, I can record like 6 songs for like $100 a track, or like some really low number.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, admittedly that was me being young and dumb.
Yeah, for sure. That happens when you're young. Fuck. Adam says, Mr. Brad, where does your inspiration come from for playing music? Life ? Trials and tribulations ? Or family?
So that's kind of a hard one to answer. It mainly just comes down to so I'm autistic as well. And to me, communication's always been kind of a tough thing for me. I don't like using my words to convey like strong emotions, because I always, in my brain, it's like, oh, you're full of shit. That's just a bunch of bullshit. And so if I write music and stuff, it like speaks more to somebody's heart. It actually like, and it transcends language barriers and stuff like that. And when it comes to the death metal, yeah, it comes from like a place of anger. It's a lot of bitterness, which is admittedly why I'm probably not writing as much anymore. I'm not nearly as like angry and bitter as I used to be.
Sure.
And then I'm inspired a lot by horror and stuff like that. Like my favorite authors are people like H.P. Lovecraft, and we gotta you gotta really just enjoy his stuff from a distance, there's always a few lines you gotta like, okay, just gonna ignore that. And then like I've been really getting into like, I love cosmic horror. I love like Stephen King was a huge author I was reading when I was growing up. That was another thing, is as well as music, I've always been really into books, and Stephen King's like my favorite author. And lately I've been getting into like manga by Junji Ito, a lot of like body horror, cosmic horror kind of stuff. And so I really enjoy things like that, and just like the whole like existential dread and nihilism and stuff. That's where like a lot of the music comes from, is like just the deep, dark idea that we're all completely worthless, and that like the entire earth could be wiped out tomorrow and it wouldn't matter at all. And that kind of like existential dread makes for like, to me, like I like trying to convey that musically.
Sure. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. So now you do vocals and you play guitar. So do you write a lot of lyrics? I mean, are you constantly trying to write? Are you one of those? Do you write concepts? Do you do things like that? Like when you sit down to write an album, does it come out as a concept? Does it come out at, do you like, all right, I read a story about this and this, about some sort of, cosmic horror or something, and then you take like that premise and kind of run with it? Or is it just, hit me to that? Well, how is it that you write?
So I don't necessarily do concept albums, just because like my ADD won't let me like have one theme between song to song, but definitely for like individual songs, definitely comes a lot from let me see here. I haven't done an interview in a while. It comes from a place where like I come up, when I'm writing something, I'll usually start with like a riff. It'll be like one guitar riff, something that like I really like, that Tony really like feels he can jam to, and we go from that. And then we usually put it on like in a folder somewhere. and then I'll come up with a couple more riffs maybe like a week from then, and then like I'll sit there and I'll sit in my like Guitar Pro, I'll put the two riffs together and just try and like string them along, which admittedly is absolute patchwork, but
No,
like
but I mean, honestly, if you think about it, man, that's how a foundation of a house is built. You know what I mean? They start with the basement. They they put the levels on progressively. There's nothing wrong with that at all, man. That's a fucking great way to write, in my opinion. You know, I personally had a real hard time writing lyrics before the song's done. You know what I mean? Because
absolutely, I can't write lyrics before the song's ready.
Yeah, it's like shaping them to fit that spot. You know what I mean? And I've always had a difficult thing doing that. But there have been stories that I had written. I mean, there's some stuff that I read, some Clive Barker Books of Blood stuff, you know, where I was taking a lot of ideas and not necessarily his premise, but some of the ideas and some of that stuff, Pig's Blood Pentagram and Midnight Meat Train, and you know what I mean, a couple of those short stories that like visually they just stuck with me. You know what I mean? Like I had to.
Yeah, Clive Barker also does that. Like he has a definite like extra darkness to everything. Like all the Hellraiser movies and stuff. There's always like, it's like it's very like it just gets under your skin when you watch it. There's just something about it, and like I can totally get behind that. Like I totally understand that.
So now, so you say you write the riffs first. So when you're piecing them together, do you switch them back and forth to try to see which works better for those riffs?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So like for our one that we released recently, Gardens of Flesh and Bone, it was probably about like 15 to 20 seconds shorter when we originally wrote it, and then like I started like moving pieces around, and I realized that throwing an extra chorus breakdown in there would kind of like give it a bit more flow. It would make it feel more like you're going on this like, it much less feels like just one different riff after the other. It was more coming back to like a common idea, a common motif.
Right.
And I've been trying to do that more, and I want to do that with the next full album. Like I kind of want to try and dip my toes into a concept album sort of thing where I have like a musical motif that keeps coming back.
Right.
Kind of like with Pink Floyd, Between the Buried and Me, stuff like that, where you get this like riff that likes to present itself hidden in the songs, or like even Edge of Sanity, like the old Crimson albums.
Right. Now, let me ask you this though. Now, you were talking about your first band and how you know when you were kind of coming up into the scene and getting into it and writing back then. You were saying you're trying to jam all this stuff into the middle of it. And I know that a lot of songs that we love and love to hate at the same time have a specific formula, you know, where you're, you know, verse, chorus, verse type of shit, you know. And I never wrote like that forever, but I did work with Brad Miller, who's
I got this Grief Collector.
Yep, Grief Collector. Yep, Grief
Yes,
Collector.
okay, I got it.
So him and I have been in bands on and off for many years, and he is, you know, he isn't a stickler for that formula, you know what I'm saying? But he definitely knows how to write a song, you know what I mean? Where to me as a lyricist, I just wrote the story the way I had it. I never really had like choruses laid out. But on some of the Outside the Murder stuff, I dabbled into that chorus verse type of thing. Now, as you grow older and as you've been writing since that first band, do you feel like you've grown into a formula? Do you have a formula of how you see things or how you hear things?
I think of it more as like organized chaos.
Sure.
Every once in a while, like when it comes to writing guitar stuff, like it comes down to me pounding a ton of coffee in the morning and doing a bit of improv stuff, then going downstairs and like just trying to jam stuff out. I do feel like I have it a bit more down now. Like it's a little bit easier for me to like when my first band, one of my most difficult problems was bridges.
Sure.
It was really hard to take one riff and another completely different riff and find something that connects them together.
Right.
Now I've gotten a lot better at having the next riff be more like tonally centered the same way that the first one was. And so now it's like the songs have more consistency to them.
Sure.
And it's a lot easier to write for.
Yeah.
I feel like I got a little bit of that from just my time down in Fierno, which was much more much more nicely structured. It was much more less chaotic. It was much more like, very much like, you can sit here, you don't have to be like a music geek to appreciate like the riffs and everything. And
Right.
everything's a lot more fun.
I think, you know, and this is just my personal opinion. I've always thought that less was more when it comes to a good groove feeling when it comes to death metal, because most of the time you got a drummer that's blast beating, everything's distorted. You know, vocally. I'm a growler, but I'm not. I think that I enunciate more than I try to, you know, to gurgle and put things that are undiscernible. You know what I mean? Like you can't really. They just kind of mesh in with the tones of everything, you know what I mean? And like Mortician to me,
especially when you got like the people who like, you know, they set their guitars up sound wise to be like too much bass, and then that gets muddied in with the bass, and then all that gets muddied in with the bass drum, and then before you know it, like you get stuff that's like completely overblown.
Yeah.
Like I love early brutal death metal, like Disgorge and stuff, but it's like you can tell right there, it's like everything kind of gets lost in the mix a little bit.
Right.
And the remasters come out, they sound way better because like you had like another sound engineer take another ear at it and like kind of adjust everything.
Sure.
And so yeah, I do think that a lot of the times, especially with grooves and stuff, less is absolutely more. Like you need something to really bang your head to.
Sure.
And don't get me wrong, I love brutal death metal. I love it, but it's like I got to be in a mood for it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, Gatecreeper is a band that
I love Gatecreeper.
Gatecreeper, Hail of Bullets is a band that I've been getting into. Insidious. God damn it!
That's the one that's on Slam Dakota, right?
No, I'm thinking of I'm sorry, I'm fucking brain dead right here. I just Insidious Disease, the old singer from Morgoth. I believe they have 2 albums, or they just released another one. But that Gatecreeper and Insidious Disease, that one's really good. Those are the 2 things that I've just downloaded recently. Yes, Shadowcast and After Death are both those Insidious Disease. That is the old vocalist of Morgoth, and I think there might be even another member of Morgoth in there. But anyway, that type of stuff, it has that old vein, you know what I mean? That old death metal feel, and that's the shit that I really love. I like to see where it goes from time to time, you know, bounces back and forth. That to me is the whole slam thing to me. It just blew my mind how everybody separates everything so much. You know what I mean? Slam to me is just really fucking groovy death metal. You know what I mean? It's just like breakdowns and throwdown. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and then it's like the breakdowns plus that hardcore punk kind of throwdown thing.
Yeah.
And it's like I totally get down on it. Like I fucking love it. But yeah, it is very much like it's more just like hardcore punk combined with death metal, and then you just gave it a bunch of Xanax and it's all slow
now. Right. So Adam D asked a question a little bit back. He said, what kind of gear? What is your gear setup? Amps, guitars, and pedals. What are you using now?
So I actually, I'm gonna sound like a total vanilla bitch right now, but I actually don't use pedals.
Oh, nice.
I actually just use my, I have a Fender MH500 right now that I've actually been using since my first band. I'm in desperate need of a gear upgrade. Like, I'll be the first to admit. But I use for guitars, I was using some of Tony's guitars for a little bit when my guitars went in the shitter. But now right now what I usually use is I have a Charvel Desolation DC-10 double cutaway. And I actually got it when I was working for Will over at Guitar Center because we had gotten them in, and I think the store were giving them away to employees for like $180.
Damn.
And so I was like, dude, a fucking like brand new Charvel Desolation for like $200? Absolutely. And so I've been using that ever since. It's got like EMG 81s and 85s, which I really want to upgrade that. Don't hold that against me. I need my pinch harmonics, and they're really helpful for that.
Well, nothing wrong with that. I mean, as musicians, you always make it work. You know what I mean? If your heart's in it and shit,
Oh yeah.
Chris Goldberg also said a weekend of the Milwaukee Metal Fest, and I'm good for a bit. Yeah, that's about how I am with death metal. Like this Gate Creeper stuff. That was one of the bands. I mean, after LG died from Entombed. I kind of went and revisited some of that old Entombed stuff, and man, I love that tone, and that Gate Creeper has that kind of bolt thrower-ish kind of tone to it, you know what I mean? And I love that European fucking
rest in peace bolt thrower.
Yeah. And I wanted to say it kind of sucks today. We lost DMX today. I don't know if there's anybody who are.
Oh, I saw some posts about that, and I was wondering what that was all about.
He overdosed last week, and I think he's been on life support and like not very much brain activity, and I think his family ended up pulling the plug on him to last night or today or something like that. So yeah, well, I mean. That's what happens when you're fucking around with drugs and alcohol. You know what I mean? Some people
what was it that Prince Philip also died? That dude who like you always see the meme pictures of him in the car and his face looks like a corpse.
Yeah. His eyes are all sunken in and all fucked up. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So
it's been a crazy day, I guess.
Yeah. No shit. Well, you were sleeping the whole time.
Through all of it.
Yep. So let me see here. So what bands are you in right now? What are you bands just for the fans that don't know?
So right now, my one band that I do lead vocals in is Volcano Diving Inc. We got a show on at Slam Dakota on July 16th over at Biggs Bar in South Dakota. Really excited about that. We've been trying to get on there for a little bit, but it's always been like a scheduling issue. Drummer's not able to do it, or one of us isn't able to. And yeah, it's just like for a little while we've been trying to get on that, and yeah, so we're gonna be opening up that show. We're gonna be like the court jesters right before all the death metal.
Dude, but Skeletal Remains is on that fucking bill, dude. Those guys.
Putrid Pile. Fucking Sean Whitaker.
Dude, that dude's fucking sick.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, fucking Insidious Decrepancy. Yes. I was excited for that, well, especially because Sean Whitaker is a Viral Load too, isn't he?
I'm not sure about that one. I can't
remember that, but I do remember I used to have the Putrid Pile Viral Load split, and that was really cool.
That dude live is unfucking believable, man. That dude is unbelievable. Yeah, heavy as shit for a single guy playing with programmed drums, and they're not fucking boom chick boom chick. It's fucking they're fucking flying. Putrid Pile is an amazing band, man. Amazing. Well, amazing guy. That's about it.
I remember being down in Fierno and trying to convince Wads, like, we should cover Drenched in Gasoline. Come on. I'm excited for that. Yeah, I saw footage of him at Obscene Extreme, and that was, you could tell he's like looking around going, wow, this is way different than what I'm used to.
Yeah. So I mean, now, how did you get hooked up with the Volcano Diving guys?
So I was in a kind of a shitty little one-man acoustic band. It was dumb shit that I wrote back when I was just like, oh, I'm gonna be offensive and stupid. But so I did a show at the Terminal Bar, and it was with Kat Jackson, and there was also Venus de Mars playing, because she wasn't doing not all the Pretty Horses. She was doing more of a standalone thing. And after the show, after I got off stage, Ian came up to me because he was playing bass in Kat Jackson, and he was asking me if I'd be willing to jam with like a comedy metal band. And I'm like, at the time, that was basically what I was doing anyway. So I go, I'm absolutely down for that. And cut to like 6, almost 7 years later, I'm still in the band, and we don't party as much as we used to. We still do every once in a while, but yeah, I remember those early days. We would just go to Ian's house and jam in the basement, and then just get like absolutely shithouse wrecked in his fucking kitchen until like we're all just like sitting on the floor of the kitchen at like 3 a.m, just shooting the shit.
Right.
But so that was my first real break for like a solo vocal gig, because that was a year before I was down in Fierno.
Sure.
And that was really interesting, going from like a comedy metal band to all of a sudden, oh hey, now I'm in a death metal band.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Even though I was like, actually, it was really bad too, because like I don't like watching early live footage of volcano diving, because I was admittedly bullshitting like half the set. Like I had been in the band for like a month, and I had writer's block so bad, and so I'm literally just on there like just saying gibberish, like complete fucking gibberish, and like, oh, it's so embarrassing. I was usually like kind of drunk at the time, just saying blabbering gibberish. I don't know how they didn't kick me out.
Well, I mean, that's part of being young, man. It's part of a part of the beginnings of everybody kind of gets there. Now, touching on the getting fucked up. Now, you kind of been on the wagon for a while, right?
Well, so what I'm trying to do now is like, so I did the entire winter. I was totally stone cold sober, completely. Now what I do is, since I work at a liquor store, I do still need to taste products so that customers can know what it tastes like. So I'll have one every once in a while, but I don't get drunk anymore. I don't get drunk at all anymore.
What made you change your mind? What made you stop?
Oh, I started getting pretty bad around the end of 2020, like especially when the winter settled in. Like it was starting to get colder, and I don't know. I found myself basically drinking like every day.
Yeah.
And I was like doing like not like a beer or two every day. I was doing like 10 to 14 shots a day.
Damn.
And so it was getting to the point where I'm like, I'm forgetting what day it is when I'm still sober.
Right.
And so after that, it was the entire rest of the winter completely sober. I said, I'm not having another drink until like the fucking snow is gone, leaves are back on the trees. And so now we're at that point. Now I'm just taking it very carefully and easily. I'm just,
Well, I know from the very beginning you were kind of expressing that, and you even got off of Facebook for a little while as well, didn't you? You were just kind of.
I was going through the winter was really tough for me mentally, especially with being sober. And I've been drinking since I was like 14 years old.
Right.
And that 4 months was the longest I had gone sober since I was 13.
Damn.
And so I really needed that. It honestly was really helpful. I got so much more done. I'm still way more productive now. And I think it was honestly for the best. And like now my memory has come back a lot. Like I can remember things a lot better. But yeah, I felt like it was just like spiraling out of control, and I just had to stop.
I know there's a lot of people since the like March, April of last year that have just with all of us kind of being shut in and forced to be shut in, you know what I mean, and not people losing their jobs and all this COVID nonsense. It's really affected a lot of people beyond just work and being stuck home, just fucking cooped up, man, and then that's like one of the best ways to cope with this shit, you know what I mean, is to get out of your own head. So many people will, a lot of musicians will dive into their music and they'll just focus on their music. They'll focus on something positive. And sometimes people just shut themselves completely off, or they just get fucked up. Everybody wants to get fucked up and kind of just not be a part of all of the shit going on. So I totally understand, man. And I like I said, I saw your post about, kind of being fed up and kind of this and that, and being honest with yourself. And I think a lot of people, when it comes to sobriety and wanting to be sober, they shut themselves off completely by saying, hey, I'm going to be sober, I'm not going to touch anything, and then they relapse and they end up feeling super guilty about that they did relapse. And I know when I was trying to get sober, because I did a lot of cocaine back in the day, you know what I'm saying? I did a ton of it. I was selling it. I was fucking dealing all the time. I had a ton of money. I was getting shit for free. So it was like, I wanted to get off it because my chemicals in my head, you know what I mean? Like I would be super high and happy and like fucking nobody can touch me. And then I would come down, and like for a week and a half after that, I'd just be a wreck. I'd be, emotional. I'd be fucking depressed. I'd be like, I can never find my creative center, would you say? You know what I mean? When it comes to writing music and shit like that. So when I got into trouble, it was one of those things, man, where I had to make a decision for myself. And I think that was, I did stumble a couple times and end up relapsing. And I had drummer Chris Emery from American Head Charge. He was sober at the time, and I ended up breaking down at a party, and I was crying to him and shit, and I was just like, dude, I'm sorry that I'm so emotional right now. I just feel like I'm failing myself by not focusing in on my creativity, my being a vocalist and things in the band. I wasn't giving the attention where it needed to be, and he just pulled me aside and said, dude, it's part of it. You gotta cut yourself a break. And I remember you saying, hey, I'm not gonna quit forever. I'm gonna do, I have to do these things. And dude, it's fucking awesome, man. I'm glad that you're doing better with that stuff.
Well, because the whole falling off the wagon thing, that was actually one of the reasons. Oh, sorry, my fucking phone. So one of the reasons that I specifically said that too, and one of the reasons why I decided not to quit entirely is because of that. Like I believe in discipline. And so I don't want to completely cut myself off, because then I'm just going to want to drink more and more. If I just allow myself a little bit, but then keep my discipline with it, we'll see how it goes. If it ends up getting out of control again, I'm going to probably just go stone cold sober again. Like I said, the main important thing, like when you have a relapse like that, absolutely don't feel guilty about it, because that's all part of the step to recovery.
Yeah.
I used to have a big problem when I was in probably from, I want to say 8th grade through senior year of high school. I was hardcore addicted to Adderall.
Yeah. I
would crush the stuff up and snort it, and I'd stay up for like 3 days straight until I was like hearing voices and seeing shadows and stuff. And like I totally understand. Like I had to go totally clean. I actually like gave the doctor a legal order to make sure to put a hold on anything, so I could never touch it again. That was a really rough half a year after that. There was a lot of blood pressure issues and stuff, and that is a different thing though. Obviously, like I'm not gonna touch that shit ever again. I've been clean and sober on that since senior year, so it's been 11 years now.
Right. Well, congratulations on that, man. That's a tough thing, and I know for me, and I was going to make a post about this earlier because I was thinking about this, like with drugs, man, you get caught up into it. It's like an appetite suppressant. I'm a big dude. I've always been a big guy. So it's like once I got off the dope and then, met my gal, and I went to jail and I did all this shit. It was like I started packing on weight.
Me too.
And then my wife got pregnant. It was like she started gaining weight, for baby weight and shit. And I was just like, hey, baby, you want to fucking eat a whole pie? Let's do this shit. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, no, I get it too. Cause as soon as I got off the Adderall, man, I started like gaining weight. And that's why like, as of like January of last year, I was at like 278.5 pounds, which I'm like 5'10". And so I should really only be about like 170. And that's when I was in high school, I was like 150 because I would never eat. So I was like kind of underweight a little bit. But that's what I'm trying to get back down to like 170 now. Like honestly, 2020, like I knew right from the start, the whole year is going to suck. The whole year is going to be total bullshit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start exercising every day, eating right. And honestly, through the whole summer, it was honestly really good. I felt really positive all the time. I swear, when I really started drinking bad, when I stopped running, when I stopped doing cardio, because then it's like you don't have that extra energy. You don't have those extra endorphins through the day.
Right.
And it was just all she wrote there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's easy.
It's like you never realize how important diet and exercise are until like you do it, you work on it for a while, and then you stop it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, it was really important.
Yeah. My body starts to hurt, man, after that. Des Traffic says, proud of you, dude. Let me see here. Adam D also said, Mr. Brad, have you ever found it difficult to book shows or promote your music to people? Forgive me, I don't want it to take away from the power of your finding your foundation and moving forward.
Oh man, booking shows. Woo-hoo, do I got a story for that one? So, the Fuse up in Harris, the old strip bar?
Yeah.
So, I booked a show there. I think it was 2015. It was either 2014 or 2015. It was when I was still in urination at the time. And I decided to book it there because, like, our band house was, like, across the train tracks, like, behind Big Daddy's. And so it was an easy show for me to justify booking. So I learned that day. I booked about like 9 bands to all play, and that was already enough of a nightmare having to deal with musicians from 9 different bands. I'm like, I don't know how promoters deal with this shit. And then after that, it was smooth sailing once we got like all the arguing about getting the slots figured out. And we can only play this time or this time. It's like, okay, fine. We get the show ready. I've got like my buddy's part of like a biker crew, and so I got like a biker crew doing security there. And I go in there, I see all these families eating. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Why are they here for this death metal show? It was family steak night. So it was like you get like a full steak dinner for like $7. And so everybody was sitting there eating, and then all of these bikers in like outfits, and like I got my all black on, all these other people are wearing metal shirts coming in, and I can see their eyes like, oh no. And then me, I'm sitting there going, oh no.
Right.
So we get everything set up, we got everything going, and the first band to play was Urination. And so literally like we get up on stage and we have a song called Egyptian Whore.
Yeah.
And literally it starts off with just, you're a stupid fucking slut and you like it in the butt, and it's just like going and yeah, it took about one song for those families to start ordering like to-go boxes.
Right. Give me the doggy bag.
Yep. Getting the hell out.
Yeah.
And so then it's like the show after that, it's going off without a hitch. It's doing all right. Then all of a sudden, I hear that there was some commotion. So I look over, these bikers are throwing this dude out of the building. And I'm asking one of them, like, what'd he do? He goes, dude was doing blow over in the corner, sitting there mumbling to himself, acting all aggressive. So we threw him out. Then I find out that when he was out in the parking lot, he was talking to back when Wayne was the singer for Tomorrow Brings New Blood. Him and Miranda were there. Yeah. And so I think he called like Miranda like a witch or something, and she believes in the Wicca stuff. And so like she got really pissed off, and she jumps on the roof of his truck, and he pulls out. She falls off the truck, and like he tears out of there, and like, oh my God, I'd never seen like Wayne and Miranda so fucking angry in my whole life.
Wow.
And I don't blame him. This fucking dude was a problem.
Yeah.
And so then again, show goes off without a hitch, even though it's like a severe thunderstorm out. Like you can see this shit's just piling in on top. There's more issues after the others. And it's like 3 a.m. Everybody's done. We're finally finished. I think some of the guys from Solar Slaughter were still there. And we finally unload the stage. We get it all set up back at the band house. Well, then we get a call the next morning from, I think it was either the venue or the cops. That guy, they didn't know it was this guy. I knew it was this guy immediately. They thought we had tried to light the venue on fire because somebody had threw a Molotov cocktail at the load-in door around like right after we left. And apparently like Cameron and Ray, I think, and the other Solar Slaughter guys, John Cameron, whatever, they decided, well, we got to get the hell out of here. And so we had to sit there and talk with the cops about that, and they eventually found the guy. He got arrested for attempted arson.
Wow.
But after that, I was like, I'm never booking a show again. This is like the worst experience of my whole life.
Right.
I'm sitting out front worrying if the bands are going to get paid because no one's showing up, almost get the venue lit on fire, almost go to jail. I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, that shit can be pretty crazy, man. Well, speaking of volcano diving, we've got a volcano diving song. Which one did you send me? You sent me No Cure for Age, right?
Yep. So this song is about basically like it's about the idea that as us as metalheads, we're all getting older. We're gonna start seeing like the first generation of like real elderly metalheads, like the death metalheads.
Yeah.
And so the song is about getting old, ending up in a nursing home, but you still want to party because you're still living that metal life.
That's me, man. That's me. You're basically speaking my language right there, man. That's me right there. I'm getting to that point. All right. Well, hey, let's take a break and listen to this tune. We've got Volcano Diving. Oh shit! I have. Oh god damn it! I did the wrong thing here. I have the song. Let me change this real quick. We'll just keep talking because What was the name? No. What was it? What was the name
No
for?
Cure for Age.
Hold on a second here. This is hilarious, dude. I've got the other title. I've got the other title queued up on this track. No Cure for Age. Let me see here. No Cure.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the ones I do a bit more clean singing on.
Age. All right, let me see here. Now we got it, I believe. All right, there you go. That's what everybody's seeing now. All right, let's take a listen to this tune, folks. Stick around. Oh yeah, we'll be right back. Hang on with me, Brad. All right. Let's listen to this tune.
All right, I've got last one.
Strong. You had your youth and beauty too, but then you'll find that age catches up with you. With creaks and groans, you look around and you're alone. So then, it's true, your age finally caught up with you. No covering, it's a true that life, but they're just trying to go inside. No covering, balls are dragging, just a second. In the cold, you are saying you're in strong, you will in love, and you just know that right now, yeah, no choice. There's no covering. There's pleasure will return some pain when you're older. There's no covering. There's no covering. Now that you're old, you're cold, you lost your fight with Father Time. You fought so hard and failed so bad, now it's a crime. With creaks and groans, you're making all new kinds of moans. It's going down, your beds are filling up with ground. No covering, cause I'm looking on. Under just ain't no choice, son. No covering. Balls are dragging, today's dragging. And in the cold, you are seeing your strong from your own blood. And you just know that right now, no choice. There's no covering. There's what the woman turns to pain when you're older. There's no covering. There's no covering. Now you're tumbling down the stairs. You crack your pants and they start to dance. Cause there's no covering, no there's no covering. There's no covering. There's no covering.
Hey, check that out. That was Volcano Diving Incorporated with No Cure for Age. And my God, that really hits home for me. So do me a favor. If you're looking to get some screen printing done, check out Anti-Broadcasting Incorporated Screen Printing, antibroadcasting@gmail.com, or giving them a call, 612-836-9488. Again, if you're looking to get some tattoo work done, hit my boy up, Jason, at Lowbrow Saints Tattoo Collective in South Minneapolis, lowbrowsaints@gmail.com, or hit them up at 612-353-4755. If you were watching this podcast right now or listening to it in any way, shape, or form, I appreciate you very much. I just want to pump this one up too real quick. Saturday, June 19th, the 10th annual Louis Bailey Senior Memorial Poker Run. It is a motorcycle run that has been going on, as you can tell, 10 years strong. This year is really special to me because, well, for one, last year was my first time riding in the poker run itself, but I got on board with this because my buddy Todd's son, Tanner Young, contracted cancer last year around September, and he's been going through all of this stuff in this memorial run. Basically what they do is they take the proceeds and they give it to a selected family, someone close to them or someone close to one of their friends or something like that. And Louis Bailey Jr. Is the owner and proprietor of Lucky 7 motorcycles in Dallas Fort Worth, and in Milwaukee as well, and he puts this thing on. It's $20 per rider. There's 5 different stops. You get a card at the first stop, which is at Park Place Sports Bar in St. Paul Park, Minnesota. We start there, 10 a.m. We're going to have some breakfast. We're going to hang out a little bit. Kickstands up at noon, and we're going to be on our way to the No Name Bar or the Monkey Bar in Prescott. They're going to go to Gaslight, the Naughty Hog, Harbor Bar, and then back to Park Place for a dinner, basically provided by Team Bubba Barbecue. And there'll be silent auctions, and I believe we're going to be raffling off stuff at each stop. So if you got a hot rod car, if you got any kind of car, you want to support it, best 5-card hand wins $100 at this deal. During the whole thing, you get a card at each stop. Put it on your scorecard. Whoever gets the best hand gets $100. There is also a trophy for the best bike of the evening. Again, that's Saturday, June 19th at Park Place Sports Bar in St. Paul Park, Minnesota. So if you feel like coming along, it's going to be a blast. I know that there's going to be a lot of cool folks there. I got a lot of friends that are going to be riding this deal. So hope to see you there. Like I said, it's $20 per rider. Join us. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast. And Brad, that fucking song was awesome. I honestly had never heard you. Dude, you guys are like Mr. Bungle and fucking... Dude, you got a lot of cool influences in there, man. I could hear it. It's like funky, and dude, you did a lot of cool shit there, man. I've only heard you do really death metal.
That's one thing I really like about Volcano Diving is all of our songs are kind of different. We don't really have one song that's just like the other one. We try and do kind of just whatever seems fun to us at the time. Just like I wrote "Burns When I Pee," like I think in the shower. And that's like our punk song. That's like our Ramones style like punk song. Like it even starts like a blitzkrieg bop, kind of do 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 do. Yeah. And the song's all about just like some dude who just like ends up getting a urinary tract infection. And it's a really crass song. Like it's probably the most crass one that we have on the album. And it's like a minute and a half, and I wrote all the lyrics in the shower, and then I go to the band, I'm like, oh, we should do a punk song. We haven't done a punk song yet. And we're just like, we can do like a minute and a half punk song. Why not? Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of fun to record in the studio. We actually recorded that album at the Terrarium. Yeah. That was an experience. Like going in there, it's just wow. Like
describe the place. I don't think I've ever been there.
So it's like you remember that studio from Lords of Chaos that they're in, that big one? Yeah. It was like that. And so it was really interesting. And like you get there and this guy, his soundboard, like it literally wraps all the way around him. He's got a massive wall of stuff on the side. We've got it's got reel-to-reel recorders on the side and all kinds of it's like who the fuck records reel-to-reel unless you're like an indie folk band? Right.
But, vintage.
It's like some dude with a banjo. Like, yeah, maybe reel to reel on that, but yeah, I never understood that.
Sounds
But
like
yeah, it
fun.
was crazy. It's like, and then of course me, it's just like, oh, they had a really nice lounge with a GameCube and stuff, so I sit there and play Star Fox.
Right. That's an
While I'm sitting there.
old school game right there.
Oh yeah, because they were like, well, because they were recording, and of course, like instrument tracking, it takes a little while, and we
Yeah.
were paying by the day there, and it's like 700 a day or something.
Yeah.
And so we got like the whole album knocked out in I think 3 or 4 days, and so for like a good half of that, I'm just like sitting in the, like just sitting in the waiting room playing games or sleeping.
Right. Right. Chris Goldberg says it's been 14 years since I got totally drunk, maybe twice. He says I can have a beer now and not need 12 shots and a teener.
And see, and I learned from my dad too, because my dad, he doesn't get drunk. My dad will still have a beer every once in a while, but
Yeah.
he just never gets drunk. And it's like, that's the level I need to be at. I need to be at the level where I can just maintain. Because yeah, holy crap, like my whole 20s, like I think everybody kind of started to just know me as the guy who got really drunk and partied a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, I don't think people took me very seriously back then.
Dude, I think
Probably still don't, and I don't blame them.
I know a lot of people that are still in that rut, man. You know,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, I won't say his name on here, but there's a veteran vocalist around town that just posted something about, you know, apologizing for all the people that he's hurt in his addiction and stuff, and saying
yeah,
he was saying that type of stuff, and I remember that, man. I remember that feeling of like, fuck, man, is this enough or what? You know, you just have enough, you know.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, I used to like, of course, Wasco's is Wasco's. You get, like, it's really hard not to get drunk at Wasco's. People be feeding you drinks all the time.
Oh yeah.
And if you're not drinking, you're either smoking weed, doing shrooms, doing whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. Other than that, I don't really see myself like partying too much anymore. Like I just don't like it anymore. I just feel gross.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. I've noticed that too, man. Like the last time I got really smashed was in December. Like right around that time. My good buddy of mine, the Gooch, we went up to me, Stark, and Paul Toohey went up to Alexandria and drank with his family, and man, it was like beer. It was fine, and then all of a sudden the Jameson came out. It was Jameson, beer bong, beer, Jameson, you know. And then by the end of it, there was like a group of people that were all like, let's do some blow, and I was like, yeah, let's do some blow. And then by the time everybody, you know, and I'm outside, I'm pissing, and I'm like, I remember feeling that wavering feeling, like, oh fuck, man, I kind of went over the deep end, you know. And I look over and I go, hey Stark, what time is it? And he goes, 7 or 8 o'clock. And I'm like, what? We're fucking wasted at, you know. Dude, we got back to Gooch's house at like 10 o'clock. I think we were all passed out besides his brother and Stark. I think Toohey stayed up till like 1 or 2. But then it was like I was up at fucking 6 in the morning, you know. My sleeping mask is like off the side of my face and shit. It was a mess. But I'll tell you what, man, it took me like a week and a half to recover from that shit, man. I felt horrible.
Let's say there was one time where what was it? I was drinking with Ian from Volcano Diving. We were up at Tiffany's Sports Bar over in St. Paul, and we were having a good time. We were sitting there pounding back a couple beers because they give you those massive fucking mugs, those big like German mugs, where it's just like, oh, this is like half a liter of beer. It's not a liter. So like we're already like pretty tipsy, and his house like 2 miles away. So we just walk back to his house, and that's when he pulls out what is called Kill Devil Hill, which is actually a bootleg rum from Jamaica. Yeah. He actually bought it off the streets of Kingston.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, we tried it. It tasted like pure gasoline. And after a couple shots, like, I'm sitting there holding Ian's hair while he's, like, puking in the merch bucket. Like, I empty out the merch bucket and just like, here, take this. Gets a big tote.
Right.
And so, yeah, I'm sitting there holding his hair back, and oh, my God, what a fucking night. Wow. We've had some nights from, like, the sports bar, because a lot of time with volcano diving, it's like, oh, well, there's the sports bar, like, 1.5 miles away, 2 miles. It's like, all right, we can walk there. There was one time we got really drunk, and it was like, I think, end of December. It was probably like 3-4 years ago. And we were with one of Ian's friends, and she had gotten just absolutely hammered. And so, like, we're like, fuck, we got to carry her home now. We got to carry her like 2 miles and like it's like 10 below. And so, yeah, we did it. We fucking put her arms over our shoulders. We helped her back to the house and let her go pass out on the couch. And she was out like a light. And like, we're downstairs, like just sitting there chatting, like, holy crap. After that, like my fucking, every bone in my body hurt for like 4 days afterwards. I never realized how much carrying somebody hurts.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I know this, man. Yeah. I got a buddy who weighs, he was at the time, he was about 400 pounds. He's a big boy. And, he passed out, and he passed out in my buddy's lawn. We were drinking Hot 100, like that cinnamon shit. It was like way before, what's that whiskey, that fucking shit everybody's drinking? Fireball. Way before Fireball. And that and, God, some other hot, it was Ruppelmans. So it was Ruppelmans, and then we were drinking that Hot 100 shit. And he passed out in the lawn, and I picked him up. I carried him up a flight of stairs, dude, and my back was wrecked for fucking a week after that shit. That shit was horrible.
Yeah, now you're just describing liquors that I can't touch anymore, like at all. Like, fuck, dude. Yeah. After so many dead Nazis back in like the early days, I can't do like Rumpelmints anymore.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Jägermeister too. I
can't touch Jaeger. Jaeger will literally just make me black out after like one shot. And it's like I'll be sitting there drinking. Oh, this actually happened at the Die Artist Murder show at the Skyway Studio A. And it was like Die Artist Murder, Enterprise Earth, Dying Fetus, Rivers of Nile, and I was sitting there. I was doing like I think it was like rum and cokes most of the night. And then my drummer at the time, he's like, oh, I got some Jaeger bombs for you. I'm like, and me, after having a few rum and cokes, I'm like, woo! I don't remember anything after like midway through Dying Fetus's set. And they were like the co-headliner. And I do remember, though, getting kicked out of the venue.
Yeah.
Because apparently I had gone up to Rivers of Nile's merch table and was just like saying, you guys are great, man. I opened for you years ago. And I'm like, looking back on it, they're probably like, oh, God. Like, can you
security?
Just go away? Yeah. And it was like, I ended up buying some of their merch, and I walked down outside to go have a smoke. And I got, like, I must have been at the base of the stairs, and I just hurled into this merch bag. So, like, ruined all the merch that I bought.
Oh, shit. The one you just bought all your shit in? Oh, man, that must have been horrible. Did you end up keeping it, or did you fucking?
Oh no, I don't even remember what happened to it. I think they threw it in the trash. So I had Where Owls Know My Name by Rivers, and then I had like I think a Grotesque Impalement shirt because I couldn't find mine currently.
Yeah.
And but yeah, they wouldn't let me back up the stairs. They're like, no, you already puked. We're not cleaning up the carpet after you puked, so you just stay outside. And that's like the last thing I remember. The next thing I remember is like waking up in a car in a parking lot in Minneapolis. I guess my dad had come to pick me up because I was totally blackout. And so I woke up, I walk out of the car. I don't know where I am or what's going on. And I literally like get out of the car. I start walking up and down the street in Minneapolis, just going, I don't know where I am.
Damn, dude. I've been there, man. I've been there. Been there.
Man, that was a night.
Yeah, I ended up passing out in some dude's garden, and I remembered. Here's the thing: is I remember this. I remember falling down in there, right? Like coming up this hill and like walking, and my friends were way ahead of me, you know. And I fell down, and it was like one of those like a war movie and shit. Go on without me, man, you know. And I remember looking over and seeing the tops of carrots sticking up. You know what I mean? So like grabbing the stalk of the carrot and pulling it out of ground and like cleaning it off and eating the carrot and then the carrot making me sick. You know what I mean? Because, you know, you're drunk. You're not chewing that shit. You're not, you know, sitting there chomping on a fucking carrot like a rabbit, right? You're just trying to hammer this carrot down. So I remember like choking on this carrot and throwing up in this dude's garden and people coming out and getting mad at me, and I'm covered in puke and like mud, and it was fucking hilarious. And then I think I kind of came to holding a bucket of popcorn. And I remember
Oh,
eating,
really?
like, I had a handful of popcorn and a butter all over my face and then fucking puking in this bowl of popcorn. It was fucking ridiculous, man.
And then you just go, wait, where am I?
Yeah, dude, I don't know why people, never called the cops on my big ass. Like, get this fucking lughead out of here, you know what I mean? He's fucking eating carrots in in a fucking garden somewhere,
This fucking human rabbit over
Right.
here just wrecking my garden.
Yep, fucking Peter Cottontail and shit,
There
So
was one time-
you have another band as well, right?
Yep, Synopsis.
Yeah, and we were talking about this before we got started as well, and this kind of been your side project for a while, right? Before you
This
got
is
that.
kind of like my little passion project. This is the thing that I've been really trying to get off the ground for a long time, and now we're actually finally making headway. We've actually got like a fan base, which blows my fucking mind.
Awesome.
And yeah, it was something that I dreamed up in high school, something that I always wanted to do, more just a name and a logo at the time. But now it's like I really feel like we've made it a long way as a band. We've done a lot of good stuff. I can't wait for this album to come out once we can actually like get it printed.
Right.
And yeah, it's been in the works for like 2 years. We've been working on it ever since we finished the demo, but just like with changing lineups, we've had drummers come and go and stuff because like a lot of our drummers have had like scheduling issues. We had Dom Sangren from Infamous Memories for a while.
Yeah.
Now he had his next kid, and he's got to take care of his kid, and that's understandable.
For sure.
So right now we can't really do a lot of live shows, but yeah, I am looking forward to the full length coming out, Call of the Void.
Call of the Void, yeah. So, now, did you say you had this name for quite some time? Like, wasn't it like one of 3 names you told me before we got started?
Yeah,
right?
I can actually pull it right off the wall here because I've actually got the original logo right here. Pardon my tits.
Nice
Yeah, so
boobs,
Drew-
Brad. Hey, Brad, you got nice boobs.
Yeah, so I ended up like drawing this back in like high school, and I'm like, oh hey, I like this. This is pretty cool. And,
Straighten it out and put it towards the camera so we can actually see it a little bit.
This was the original logo.
Back up
And,
a little
I
bit.
was trying to do kind of a spider web sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I also tried. There was also Pollution, and that was more of like I was really listening to what is it? They're a German grind band called Depression.
Yeah.
And I was really into them at the time, and so I kind of tried to draw a logo that was a little similar, something that looked like really toxic and drippy and nasty, but
Sure.
it never really like amounted to anything. I know me and Andre worked on it for a little bit, trying to get some stuff written. They actually, speaking of Andre, with the new Cardigem single that just dropped, crazy shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we were working on that for a while, and then that went on the back burner for years. And then after I parted ways with Down Inferno, I started working with these guys at Face of Deceit. And when we started, we got our demo done and everything. We ended up rebranding at that point as Synopsis, and that's why the original demo still says Synopsis. But that was a very it happened right around then, and since then we've been running with the Synopsis moniker. I know we got our new logo from Jordan Swanson. He did our logo. Great fucking work. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Jordan's very underrated when it comes to his logo work and his flyer work. But he puts a lot of time into it, and he doesn't chintz out when it comes to putting things together. He's not like one of those cats that just goes and finds a font and pushes it on you. I've seen him take ideas from so many different so many different things, from like the Tempestuous cover that he did.
Absolutely.
Jordan was in Outside the Murder, and one of the when we recorded that album, he was the bassist on the album, and we've had lots of conversations about artwork and that type of stuff. So Jordan's really underrated.
Well, because the other thing is, like, when I was trying to get a new logo, I'm like, I don't just want to be another Slam logo.
Right.
I don't want to be just another, like, extremely intricate but drippy kind of Slam logo like you see with, like, Acranius or, like, and great bands. But you got, like, Analepsy. Like, everybody's trying to go for, like, the Analepsy logo now.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I just want something that's nice and readable.
Right.
And something nice and readable, but also looks metal. Kind of like the early Devourment logo.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
The Devourment logo to me is like the perfect, like, brutal death logo.
Yeah.
It's got, like, it's very legible, but also very brutal.
Sure. Yeah. Now, what is the now with volcano diving? That's more of a have fun type of band, party type of band. With Synopsis, how is that? What kind of topics are you running through that? Is it strictly death metal? Is it just heavy?
So Synopsis, like as far as like musicianship wise goes, we do a lot more. Kind of like I almost want to call it like melodic brutal death metal, because we like to do like lots of harmonies and melodies. We love creating more like wall of sound sort of stuff, but then there's also, we still get down with like the nice like hard slams and like the good like death metal riffs, like
Right.
Our last single before Gardens of Flesh and Bone was with Skies Painted Red, and that one follows more of a thrashy brutal death, kind of like just in your face, like boulder rolling down a hill sort of thing.
That's a good analogy. Boulders rolling down a hill.
Oh yeah, that's always how I describe like bands like Last Days of Humanity and stuff like that, the really extreme grind stuff. So that's
Right.
where I got a lot of ideas for like what I want to do beat wise, is from listening to like Misery Index, Last Days of Humanity, some of the other ones I'm trying to remember.
Misery
There's
Index
so many
is
fucking
killer.
bands. But yeah, as far as like lyric wise, a lot of our stuff focuses around mainly things like mental illness and nihilism. A lot of the ideas that the human race is worthless in the grand scheme of things, that the whole earth could be destroyed tomorrow and it wouldn't matter. And that's also why I started collecting a lot of like cosmic horror stuff. I've always been really been into that. So that's always like, to me, cosmic horror is like the best kind of horror, because
Sure.
like, don't get me wrong, human horror is also absolutely like terrifying, but it's even more terrifying to know that no matter how awful everything is, like we are all completely worthless in like the scheme of the universe.
Right.
And so that's kind of what a lot of Synopsis taps into. It's like the synopsis of humanity. We
Sure.
are worthless.
Sure. Now are you playing guitar on this stuff too, or are you now? Do you play guitar and sing in Volcano Diving, or?
No, I just do lead vocals in Volcano Diving.
Okay.
And Synopsis, me and Tony Velasco, we both do guitars and vocals. So we switch
gotcha.
off sort of like Nile or Dying Fetus or something like that.
Sure. That's
And,
fantastic.
yeah, I really like it too, because I like working with another vocalist as well. You get so much more layering there. And since we're both playing guitar and doing vocals, it makes it a lot easier to write stuff.
Oh, I bet.
And yeah, it's also really nice to have just like somebody to more like bounce ideas for like guitar stuff off, because of course with Volcano Diving I come up with a little bit of stuff for guitar, but basically none.
Yeah.
Like I came up with the chord progression to Burns When I Pee, that's all I got. And so like Synopsis, it's like I get to really craft this song, and I get to work with someone like Tony, who's like super fucking creative. The stuff that he comes up with is crazy. The solo for, I think was it Gardens of Flesh and Bone, the solo for that, he literally improv'd like on the spot live at a show, and thankfully we recorded it. And so now that's the solo for it.
Nice. So he didn't have to beat himself up in the studio. He actually came up with that shit live. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he absolutely, like, he can really jam shit out. He's an extremely talented songwriter. And this is actually like his first, like for a lot of the guys in Synopsis, it's like their first real band. And
Okay.
so it's like I apologize in advance for giving bad advice.
Now with this this Synopsis album, how many songs are going to be on this one?
So it's going to be 6 tracks. It's going to be a complete re-recording of the demo. So all the demo tracks are going to be redone with, in the demo, we had Noah Sullivan doing vocals. Great guy. I love the demo. We're just kind of going in a different direction now with more chorus vocals.
Sure.
And so now we're re-recording all the demo stuff. Plus we got the Gardens of Flesh and Bone, which we released last year around October, I want to say. And then we've also got, actually it might be 5. Shit. Now I got to actually remember. How do I not remember the tracks? Let me see. I can actually pull it up right now. Okay. So yeah, we've got the entire, okay. So yeah, we got Gardens of Flesh and Bone. Then we got Skies Painted Red. We re-recorded that as well. So that's also going to be in the album as well. So it's all the demo plus the single from last year plus 2 more songs.
Nice. That's
And
fantastic.
so yeah, it's going to be good. It's like I said, it's been 2 years in the making. I got a bunch of artwork ready for it. been working with some really interesting artists. The artist for the artwork in Call the Void, the cover artwork, was a guy, Delirium Designs. I think he's out of Japan. And like, I don't know, I love talking about artwork and shit because I'm all about like visual art. It's really cool. And one thing I didn't want was that I didn't want just a bunch of blood and gore.
Right.
Because to me, like, there's so many bands that have already like nailed it as far as like gory artwork. I just feel like I'd be a Johnny Come Lately at that point. So
right.
I want to do more like dark, disturbing kind of stuff.
Sure. Let the imagination run a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let me see here. Adam wanted to know, let me see here. He says, what's your favorite video game? He said, since you played the GameCube, I figured you're a gamer too, is what he said.
Oh yeah, I play all Nintendo systems. I've been a Sony fanboy since the 90s. I'm a PC gamer. My first system that I ever played was a Commodore 64.
Oh, nice.
Because my dad was a programmer back in the day, and so we had a Commodore 64, Commodore Amiga, Windows 95. My first game console, I think, was a PlayStation, though.
Nice.
And so, but my favorite game is probably Roller Coaster Tycoon.
No shit, huh?
Yeah. It's my autistic brain. I fucking love Roller Coaster Tycoon. I love being able to craft a park and try to optimize it completely, build coasters from scratch, stuff like that. It's honestly my favorite game of all time.
Wow, that's crazy, man. I didn't expect that one, man. Not at all. That's pretty cool.
My two favorite PC games are Roller Coaster Tycoon and The Sims.
I figured The Sims were going to come in there after
absolutely.
you said that. Have you ever heard of a game called Black and White?
Yes. That was by I know Peter Molyneux made that. That was the one that was in Guinness World Records for a long time for having like the most complex learning algorithm for an AI.
Dude,
and, I never got to play it directly because it was pretty expensive back in the day and I didn't have a job. But
right.
Yeah, I want to go back and actually play that because it's really cool, the idea of having like this deity that learns from what you tell it to do until it just starts doing stuff on its own the way you wanted it to.
Yeah, you can do like a giant gorilla. You can do like a wolf. You can do like I think I still have a copy of that game somewhere. I have to find it, but I'm pretty sure I still have a copy of that game.
Yeah, it reminded me of another game that came out around that time called Giant Citizen Kabuto.
Yeah.
Where it was another like controlling a big monster and stuff, and you have people as like part of your armies and stuff, and there's people trying to get you all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like I love PC games from like the mid 90s to mid 2000s because like right around then I think was like the golden age of like video gaming.
Sure.
It's where like the 3D games really came into their own. Like there's obviously a golden age for like 2D games, which is mainly like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis era. That was always it to me. But to me, like the best of 3D gaming was like early PS2, GameCube, Xbox, PC. Not to mention, I definitely got down when they made like Doom 3 and stuff. That really got me into Doom, just in general.
Yeah. Let me see here. I'm a real boy. The puppet says, "Love you, beautiful bitches." Well, we love you too. I wish
you too, man.
I wish it popped up a picture of those people while we're doing our thing, so we could see their beautiful faces while we're doing it. Again, thank you guys for putting your comments in the chat. I really appreciate it. If you have any more questions, I know that Adam's been throwing some stuff at us. He said, "Brad, do you have any tattoos? Since you love artwork, do you want to be a walking portrait?"
Actually, I do not have a single tattoo.
Not one.
Nope, not one.
Wow, dude. Now, this is what I was just talking about this in my last podcast. Last week I was talking about this, talking to my daughter about this because she's 14. And when she was 12, she was like, "Dad, I already know what I want to get tattooed here. I want to get tattooed here." And I'm like, I looked at her and I was like, why? Like, why not be?
You're gonna live with this for the rest of your life. You got to find something that speaks to you.
And I've told her that too. There's like I told her there's things. This is what the conversation was with a tattoo artist while we're talking about this too. Is like my only regret is sometimes I let some of the best real estate as far as like on my shoulders and a couple other couple places that are like could have done some really sick pieces. You know what I mean? Now, because when I started, man, it was like you picked a flash off the wall and you got it tattooed on you. There was really no freestyle of art. It really wasn't a thing back then. And so I think not having tattoos nowadays, because when I started getting them when I was 18, I'm fucking almost 50 now. And it's like, you know, it was a rite of passage, man. You know, when you started getting tattooed, it was like you had to wait till you were 18. You had to go in there. You know what I mean? It was like you went into this scuzzy kind of biker fucking tattoo shop, you know, and it was like you earned it, kind of. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's been so watered down when it comes to like every other housewife and every other, you know, grandmas and shit getting tattooed, you know, like
getting laugh, love down the arm.
Yeah, cross their titties, you know what I mean? Like down here, their boobies are down here. But
it's got to get one on their palm that just says, "I need to speak to the manager."
Yeah, right. The Karen tattoo, yeah, for sure, dude.
Talk to the hand.
Yep. So I figured, you know, like I told my daughter, I thought that if she didn't get tattooed, she would be cooler than someone that's, you know, 16 and has a tattoo already because their fucking mom signed a waiver for them to get tattooed. You know what I mean? That type of shit. So
now, that being said, though, I have debated getting a tattoo this year. This is actually the first year I'm like seriously considering getting a tattoo. So I was actually thinking about getting like a rainbow heart tattoo right there before Pride Month, but also I don't know. I don't got a lot of money on me right now, so I might have to wait until later in the year.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. If you want to get tattooed, let me know. I can get you a good deal at Lowbrow Saints. They're good friends of mine, and they always appreciate good people coming into their shop. So, and it's right over in South Minneapolis. And if you want to get hooked up, I'm sure I can make a call and make that happen. At least a little cheaper than it normally would be. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of places up here are like small little parlors, which is fine, but it's just like, man, you always know when you're near northern Minnesota because like all the small towns always have that one tattoo parlor, and it's in like a ridiculously small building.
Yeah, they're like on the end of a strip mall and shit.
Yeah,
I mean, is there still one over in? Is there still over one in? Is there still over one in Forest Lake down there?
Yeah, that one's still there.
Yeah.
It was actually funny. When I was 21, it was when I was 21. I was hanging out with this buddy. I can't say his name, but he was doing like tattoos out of his basement.
Yeah.
And he had actually like made a tattoo gun like prison style, and it's like you can just order that shit. You know, you don't have to make it.
Right. Well, you know that's the beginning of that shit there, man.
Yeah, and it's just like I was sitting there like, you better make sure that work is good, because if it's bad, and like for one, you can't let any of those people can't say where they got the tattoo from, because if they find out, you lose any ability to have a license for it. So it's just like, it just feels like, I don't know. That was one thing that kind of turned me off from tattoos for a while, was just like having that one bad experience can kind of color your perception a little bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I used to go into those old school tattoo shops, and they were really fucking, you know, people were just assholes back then, you know. They weren't personable at all. And I remember working at a tattoo shop when I was doing my apprenticeship for piercing. I worked at, you know, 4 or 5 different tattoo shops, and they were all so different, man. You know what I mean? They're the old school guys that sit there and tattoo, and people would come in, and being a front desk guy or whatever, you know, or you know, working in the piercing area, you know, you're always kind of like right up front, either selling jewelry or you know what I mean? So it was like, these cats wouldn't fucking pay no mind to you. You know what I mean? And that's a shitty experience when you want to go in and like have this meaningful thing put on you, you know?
The guy just doesn't care.
Yeah. He's just like, oh yeah, what do you want? Yeah, you drew it yourself? Okay, yeah, well, I'm going to have to charge you to redraw it because that shit sucks, you know, that type of shit, you know? It just makes
like,
you...
It's like, if it's shitty, just trace it and just say, yeah, he drew it. I just traced it. Like,
exactly.
I don't need my name associated with this.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't draw it, so it's not.
Yeah. But there are those guys out there that are like that too. Oh, Adam says, God of War, bring it, is what he said.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I actually used to have all the God of War games. I actually was collecting those back when they first came out. I think I had... I had the first one, the second one. I had Chains of Olympus. I think I stopped collecting them around the third one. I really like what the new one is doing, because the new one's a lot less mindless than like the second or third one. second or third one just run into a room, kill things, and then move to the next room. Whereas like the new one is actually like there's a story here.
Right. Yeah, my buddy was telling me that him and his son play the new one all the time, and they totally love it. And he said, I call my son boy. Come here, boy.
Boy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Is like I really like that. Like it really humanizes Kratos as a character in the new one, where he has to take care of like his son and everything. And it's like after like having his whole family murdering his whole family in the first game, it's like his kind of redemption arc a little bit. So it's a really interesting storyline.
Hell yeah. Well, let me see here. Let's take a listen to that. Now it's cool to it's cool to do this song, right? With the synopsis.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
I'm actually kind of excited for this.
When are you guys thinking about releasing this?
So I'm hoping this album will be out by July. I'm hoping. It all comes down to like how long I know it comes down to how quickly I can get the money together for it.
Right.
But because I got all the artwork done, I'm going to be talking to a graphic designer to get the booklet done. But so hopefully, I'm hoping halfway through the year about to maybe August.
Well, go back to Jordan. Jordan set up a lot of that insert stuff. He's done all of those things like that for Tempestuous and a few other bands. So I don't know, hit him up. I know he did the layout for the Outside the Murder stuff too. So he's definitely good at that stuff. Let me see here. So we're gonna listen to. Oh, look I did it on the other one, dude. I totally switched the titles of the songs, man. It's hilarious. Oh goodness, man. I think I didn't save it when I did it.
Really, it's kind of also my fault for not sending you the files till like this morning.
It's all right, man.
Because I'm such a procrastinator.
Right. Call of the Void is what it's called, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Call of the Void.
Self-titled track.
Yep, that's the name of the album. That's what it's going to be, is Call of the Void. Okay, Call of the Void. Now, if you're looking at the video right now, you're like, this fucking guy is fucking all backwards. But this is the name of the tune, Synopsis, Call of the Void. We're going to take a listen. Folks, stick around, and we'll be back. Okay.
Surprise! Dead air!
Very nice. Very nice. I like that stuff, man. That's heavy as fucking balls, dude.
Yeah, dude. I honestly like it, especially with the fact that like we put the breakdown at the end of it.
Right.
I'm one of those people that likes to earn the breakdown, doesn't just start with it.
Right. Yeah, what the fuck? That's the best part, man. And you throw right back into that shit, man. I like that.
Well, that's like right down to like the very basis of slam is from Suffocation, Liege of Imberacity.
Right.
And yeah, that breakdown doesn't come until like 2/3 of the way through the song or something.
Right. So so with the let me see here with the Facebook. See, Facebook wasn't allowing me for 30 days to live stream, right?
Okay.
So tonight I just went on Facebook just to see if it popped up. Well, the live stream is going on Facebook right now. There's 3 people in the chat room, and then there's a bunch of shit that I didn't get to see. Juan Carlos says, "Are you growing your beard back ever again?" I don't know if he's still in the.
Nope.
He said, "No, you're not going to go back to the beard, huh?"
No, it was maybe I will. Okay, so for No Shave November, I am going to stop shaving for a full month, mainly just because I'm kind of curious to see what happens.
Right.
Because I get like a really nasty 5 o'clock shadow after only one day.
Yeah.
And so like it's funny. My boyfriend keeps sitting there like, you can sit there and grow a beard. I can barely grow a beard. And
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I shave almost every fucking day now.
Damn, dude.
And but yeah, I actually like prefer clean shaven. I think a lot of it was just me trying to hide my double chin.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh hey, I'm losing weight. I can get around without a beard anymore, without having this shit like hanging around.
I know this. I am this. I have this same thing. Josh Mayer says, "What's up?" Let me see. Andrea Mitchell talked way back, talking about classical is bass. My buddy Gil says, "What's up?" Andrea also said a question, comment about Ryan's Corner, and then she said something about Past the Jameson. John Suffering says we both have really nice racks, is what he was saying. And Andrea Mitchell was talking about video games. ... She said Metroid. Juan Carlos came back on. Let me see here. Andrea Mitchell is watching again. Welcome back. Looking good anyway. Miss you, brother Brad, says Juan Carlos. And Brian Denow. Is that how I say it? Brian Denow. Yep. He says hello as well, or he's watching anyway. And yeah, I appreciate everybody joining us too. We're hanging out here. We've been going almost 2 hours strong here. And I appreciate you doing this podcast, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, I wouldn't miss it.
So with the Synopsis stuff, you're looking tentatively around July to get this thing pressed and get it out there. Hopefully they start doing shows pretty soon. It seems like they're starting, with the Slam Dakota. That's a pretty big one in July as well. So I think we're all ready to be back doing some shows. I'm a little nervous, to be honest with you. I know that.
You and me both.
Have you thought about getting this vaccination that everybody's starting to get yet?
Well, I have to because I'm actually planning on taking a trip to Germany in September, and so I'm going to need to actually be up to my vaccinations if I want to leave the country.
Right on. Are you have you found anything or heard any stories about which one you'd like to take, the Johnson & Johnson or the Pfizer, Moderna?
I've been hoping that I can just get the one-shot deal and just be one and done. Like, that'd be honestly kind of nice, but I mean, like, if the other one's more effective, I'll probably just end up doing that one.
Right. Now
I work retail as well. Like I deal with usually like over 100 customers a day at least, and it's like a small town liquor store, so
Sure.
there's not like a ton of traffic, but
enough.
busy days I'm still dealing with like 200 to 300 people a day.
Sure.
And so it's like I really just should get my shots.
Right. Yeah. Adam says shows. Yes, please. I'm totally ready for shows to come back, dude. I really, man, I took a huge break from shows because of the whole Lee's thing and it getting shut down and whatnot. So
that was a travesty getting shut down like that. That they did him dirty.
Yeah, for sure, man. And it was the city. You know what I'm saying? They just kind of
we need to build another light rail station. Oh
right.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, and
I mean, I love public transport. I'm glad for that, but don't shut the venues down. You did that shit with Station 4. Now it's happening with Lee's.
Yeah.
What's going to happen next?
Right.
At least the caboose is out of the way of the fucking railway. Otherwise, that should be gone too.
Yeah, no doubt. And, I think we're all ready to get back to the shows. I mean, I had taken such a long break. I really didn't realize how much I thrive off of live shows. I really miss taking pictures of people doing what I love to do as well, being a musician myself. And I miss it so fucking much, man. And I didn't even think about it. You know what I mean? Like, I was so like torn from this Lee's thing and just kind of detached from everything musically and the podcast itself. And
it's like when that kind of shit happens, that's just soul crushing.
Yeah, it really is when you put, like you said, you have those experiences when you're booking shows, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's either a make or break type of thing. Like if you bite off too much, if you go 9 bands right out the gate, you really feel the pressure of all the shit and like everybody getting paid, and you know what I mean? And with
like, that's why honestly, like I have so much more respect for promoters now and booking agents and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know it's the common thing to shit all over Leo Presents, but now that I've actually experienced booking a show, I know how stressful that shit is, and they're doing that shit like multiple times a week, every week, and it's like
on a grand scale with thousands and thousands of dollars, you know what I mean? And multiple.
And it's like if you're out, there's actual like real legal repercussions if you fuck up.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just like, I have a newfound respect for promoters and having to deal with musicians like me.
Yeah. yeah, man. And I couldn't imagine being a promoter and dealing with fucking the Rolling Stones or some crazy shit like that.
Oh my God.
Where they've been doing it 50 years.
TV out a window.
Right.
Like,
right.
Great.
Yeah,
I want them to play, but they're in jail right now.
Writing a fucking check for all the shit that they break, being management for that for them.
Well, now we're in the red.
Right. Yeah. That'd be pretty crazy, man. Well, you know what, man? We're right at the 2-hour mark, and we played some killer songs. We played some Volcano Diving, and we did the Synopsis. Now this one wasn't a release song, so this is the first time that anybody's heard any of that stuff too.
This is the debut of Call of the Void. It's not going to be available on Bandcamp yet. We're actually saving that for the album, so this is the only place that you're going to be able to hear it.
Awesome, man. Hopefully people will rewind and take a listen, because like you said, it's the first time you're going to hear it till they release it, and hopefully July. I'll cross my fingers for you, man. So hopefully everything works out, dude. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show and share your story and promote your bands and let people listen to what you got going on. I have an appreciation for you, my friend. You have a fantastic voice. You're versatile as a musician, and I really appreciate that, man.
Hey man, I appreciate you having me on the show, man. It's great to get to shoot the shit with you again. Like I haven't seen you in forever.
Yeah, it's been a long time, man. And congratulations on the sobriety and like pulling back on the reins and getting everything. You look fantastic, man. You look like you're trimming up and looking.
Oh, yeah.
You look healthy, man.
I think I've lost about 60 to 70 pounds so far. I like this whole last year, like not doing shows and stuff really kind of put a mirror up to me. It's like, you're acting like a fucking idiot. I'm like, okay, I got to get my shit together.
Right.
And so, yeah, I started doing cardio like every day, started eating well. And yeah, I'm close to, I'm about like 45, 50 pounds away from my goal.
Well, kick ass, man. I'm working on it myself, man. I'm on like the heaviest I've ever been in my life.
We're all work in progress, man.
Yeah, man, for sure. That's what they say is you got to be better than the day before, right? That's what it's supposed to be.
And I will say, I want to give a shout out to Eric Keys too, because he's been helping me. He helped me a lot through this. I've actually still got a nutritional list that he gave me of stuff that's really helpful to buy. Gave me a lot of really good, useful tips. I know he's got his fitness coaching and stuff, and yeah, he does really good work.
Yeah, hell of a shout out to Eric. Dude is a fantastic guy. He works really hard on himself and has gone through his own trials and tribulations and been in so many bands in the Twin Cities too. Fantastic guy. I know I've shared it a bunch on the podcast page and everything, but look him up. I know that Bobby Icon, Rob Carlson, is going through his fitness stuff right now, and
he's lost a lot of weight. I saw those pictures of him. Holy crap, he looks good now. He's really lost. He looked good before. Looks fine.
Yeah.
Don't hate on. Don't hurt me, Rob.
Yeah. Right.
But no, like he's honestly looking really good now. He's lost a lot of weight, and it's like, yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people doing that. A lot of people going sober, a lot of people losing weight. I think a lot of people have used this last year as like a good time to work on themselves. Fuck yeah.
And nothing wrong with that, man. All the support in the fucking world to everybody taking steps to better themselves, man. It is so important in this life, man. You know, I know when I was younger, you know, with all the partying and shit, man, I never thought I'd make it to 18, then 21, then 30. Now I'm in my 40s and I'm like, fuck, man. I should have taken much better care of this flesh suit that I got. You know what I'm saying? Because
and it's like I'm 30 this year and I'm thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it gets worse as you go, man. If you don't take care of yourself, man. I know this. I have a really physical job, so I'm moving a lot, but you know, trying to get some cardio in and hit the heavy bag and trying to get back my stamina, man. I wish I would have been doing this the whole time through Outside the Murder, because I feel like if I would have had my stamina back, I would have.
Oh yeah, your vocals improve so much when you do cardio and stuff, and when you're actually like doing like planking and core workouts. All of a sudden you're like, wow, I can sing a lot better than I used to because I'm actually like working out my core now.
Yeah. Plus I quit smoking 2 years ago too, so I can't, you know what I mean?
Congrats, man.
Like fucking hitting the heavy bag and like opening my lungs, I can really tell about, you know, that I'm not smoking.
I still vape, but I haven't been a smoker. Well, I actually quit smoking before I joined the scene, so that was around when I was like 20.
Well, that's good.
But yeah, I mean, I still vape though because I still love my nicotine.
Right.
So I mean,
right. It gives you a spark, man. I didn't believe it at first, man, but when I was vaping right at the tail end of my smoking stuff, I could really tell because you know it's like I downed my nicotine dose, so it was like up in the 20s down to like in the mid teens, and then down to like 6%, and then like 2% or some shit.
Well, admittedly, my case is a little bit opposite. Like as soon as I started working retail, I'm like for the longest time, no nicotine in my life. As soon as I start working retail, I better get back on the nicotine.
Right. Hell yeah, man. People are fucking rude, man. Especially with this whole COVID shit, man. People are fucking rude, and they just, people like to start shit, and they like to shit on people for the fun of it.
I've had people threaten to fight me like several times because I didn't have an item in stock that they wanted. So it's just like, yeah. I know that game.
Up north, too. You ain't even in the city, dude. That's the sad thing, man. You're in the sticks. You're not even in the city. Cities where they come in. I was with my buddy when he worked at a liquor store in Minneapolis, man, in Uptown, and this guy came in and fucking grabbed a bottle, and we had to chase him down the block, and he just dropped it out of his fucking bag and smashed it on the ground, and he just kept running. I was like, you motherfucker! I couldn't even imagine that shit. I wouldn't want to work in that nonsense, man. Retail is
craziest story I ever had from working liquor retail is it was probably like 2-3 years ago. It was 3 years ago. It was the winter that I first started working at MGM down in Forest Lake. And I'm going out back because I have to take some cardboard out. We just done a delivery that day. And as I'm going out the back door, I'm like filling up the dumpster. I look to the left. There's 2 people fucking on the hill, like right next to me, like probably 12 feet away. And like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I go inside, I close the door, and I laughed so hard that they absolutely heard me out there. And my coworker at the front of the building, it's a big building, the MGM in Flake, and he goes like, dude, what the hell were you laughing about? And I look back out the door, they're gone, they ran away.
That's hilarious, dude. That's hilarious.
Oh my God, I'll never have a story like that again in my life.
You never know, man. Life is crazy like that. Life is crazy, man. You never know. But hey, Brad, thank you very much for coming on the show, dude. We'll have to do this again. Maybe we'll get a couple of the other guys in on this thing, and you know, hope your car gets fixed and you can make it. We planned on doing it in studio, but Brad's car was acting up on him. So, but this is why this is an option too. You know what I mean? So we can do these Zoom calls and Skype calls and stuff like that, because I don't mind them. I know other podcasters in town they kind of frown on it, and it's not as personable as having somebody, you know, directly across talking to them. But I enjoy these. I like to hear people's stories. I like to chat with people that I find interesting. And honestly, hit me up if you're thinking about getting that heart too. I'll talk to my guy and we'll try to get you in. All
right, thanks, man.
Yeah, for sure. Folks, thank you again for joining us. Like I said before, check out Anti-Broadcasting Incorporated, screen printing, antibroadcasting at Gmail, or like I said, you can give them a call at 612-836-9488. If you're looking to get some tattoo work done like Mr. Brad here, Lowbrow Saints Tattoo Collective in South Minneapolis, lowbrowsaints at gmail.com or 612-353-4755. Also, don't forget about the Louis Bailey Senior Memorial Poker Run on June 19th. It's going to be fantastic. 5 different stops. We're going to be playing poker through the whole thing. I mean, we're get a card and you make your best hand. $20 per rider, per driver. If you guys want to join us in your cars, you're more than welcome. With everybody who's paid, you get a free barbecue meal at the end of the ride. Plus, we'll be doing some raffles and stuff like that. We've got $200 in from Blaine Harley Davidson. We've got a bunch of gear, a bunch of Harley Davidson gear, some Dixon flannel stuff. We've got $100 to give away for best 5-card hand during this poker thing, and we got a trophy to give away for the best bike during this whole deal. And we're gonna have the young man that this is all going benefit to, Tanner Young, picking that motorcycle with some other kids that are involved in the thing too. So please join us June 19th at St. Paul. Let me see. Park Place Sports Bar, 200 Broadway Avenue in St. Paul Park, Minnesota. Please come join us, 10th annual, June 19th. Again, thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate it very much. Brad, you want to say goodnight?
Thank you for having me on. It was great to be on the podcast. Great to shoot the shit with you for a while. And yeah, have a great night, guys.
Hell yeah. Thank you very much, y'all. Y'all have a good evening, and check us out next Friday. I can't remember who I got on next Friday, but it's going to be fun. You'll enjoy it, I think. Have a good night, folks. Peace out.
Ritual Madness Podcast. Ritual Madness Podcast. Ritual Madness Podcast. Ritual